What a fabulous week it's been. Have I got some things to share with you? I'm Lynn and this is my channel, So Lindy Lou. Thanks so much for joining me today and I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm going to be sharing today 3.5 makes. So I've made quite a lot since my last video last week, and I've got some new fabrics as well that I'm going to share. So I've got 4 new fabrics. Sorry, I just paused for an Amazon delivery to arrive so the dogs can have a good bark at the letterbox. So I think we're back to normal now. So where was I? So yes, 3.5 makes and 4 lots of fabrics and some very exciting events that I've been to this week that I'm going to tell you all about and pop in some pictures as we go as well. So the first make is actually the one that I'm wearing, and this is called, I've written loads of notes because I've got so many things, I want to make sure I don't miss anything out. This was made last Saturday, and it was part of the Weekend Sewing Club, and it was the live sew along. So if you don't already know about the Weekend Sewing Club, it's run by the lovely Sarah from My Handmade Wardrobe. Oh gosh, that sun's got really bright, it's right in my eyes. Hopefully you can still see me okay. I don't want to close the blinds because it's so lovely to see sun at this time of year, isn't it? I'm sure it won't last for long. So yeah, Sarah from My Handmade Wardrobe runs the Weekend Sewing Club, and it is a membership where you pay for a month's membership. It's currently £15 a month, but I've got a discount code with you which I'll put in shortly along the screen, and I'll just talk you through what it is as well. You can sign up to the Weekend Sewing Club between the 25th and the 30th of the month, so you'll be able to sign up soon for the next month. And you'll then get access to all of the patterns that Sarah's a pattern designer, so she's got patterns that she's created. And what she also puts on there is, as well as the live sew along, which is also recorded, so if you can't make it live you can go back and watch it, and of course it's there as a resource if you want to make the garment again. You can always go back and re-watch so that you can sew along again, not in a live sense, but you know, as you're making the new garment. So that's a really useful resource. She also puts on lots of technique tutorials as well. So if there's a tricky bit on the pattern or something you may not have tackled before, then she'll record a video and show you how to do that piece. I think that's a really useful resource, and there are also member discounts as well, so there's quite a lot you get for that £15 a month. And as I said, the discount code, which is WSCALY, and that gives you £6 off your first membership. So really a really nice little discount. And this particular design is called the sweater weather pullover. So I'll stand up in a second so you can see what it looks like. There are 2 different variations. There's a very straightforward sweatshirt with regular sleeves, so it's got a slight drop sleeve. It's got a high neck because Sarah wanted to make sure that it's really snugly and warm around your neck rather than having a gap, because sometimes when you're working from home or sitting and sewing, especially, you know, as the weather starts to get cooler, then you don't want any drafts where you're going to get you know, cold winds blowing in. So it does come up quite high. I actually modified mine slightly and made this slightly smaller. So that's the rib, and I just used the self fabric. I didn't use a rib. This is a sweatshirt weight fleece back jersey. I don't know if you can see that. It's got the nice soft jersey, and I just used the same fabric for the rib at the neck, the waistband and the sleeves. And the version I made has got these lovely bell sleeves. So all you do is you put a gathering couple of rows of stitches around the bottom of the sleeve and then gather them into the cuff, and I think that looks really, really nice. I like that. It just gives it a bit more of an elevated look rather than just you know, a basic sweatshirt. So let me stand up so you can see. I made the medium, and there we go, there's the lovely sleeve. It doesn't have gathering at the sleeve head, it's just a set-in sleeve, and there's plenty of room in the sweatshirt. I don't think I would have sized down because of I needed the medium for the bust measurement, and that fits nicely on me. I don't think I would have wanted that any tighter, but it is quite a nice loose sweatshirt. It is quite long, so you could make it shorter if you wanted more of a crop version. You could easily just shorten the bodice. There is you know, a shortening line on the pattern, but I quite like it at that length. It's nice and warm, and Sarah purposely made it at that length again, so you don't get, when you sit down, sometimes you get a gap, don't you, between your sweatshirt and whatever you're wearing at the bottom, and she didn't want that, so she purposely made it quite long. So that's the version that I made, and as I say, the other version, oh gosh, that sun is really sunny now, isn't it? Let me just close the blinds and put the light on because you won't see otherwise. I might take a second to adjust. Actually, it's still bright enough coming through the blind without my light on, I think, isn't it? What a shame to shut it out, but yeah, it was right in my eyes. So that is the weekend sewing club and the sweater weather pullover. The other thing that Sarah did on the video, she talked about being able to customize the sweatshirt so that you could turn it into a Christmas sweatshirt. So rather than, obviously with a Christmas sweatshirt, if you've got something embellished on it, you probably only wear it for a couple of days of the year, don't you? And what Sarah talked about was actually fastening things on and then being able to take them off again. So you could put on a press stud and then actually put something different on depending on the season. So you might put a snowman on the front or a snowflake or something like that, and then change it for something else as you go into other holiday seasons. So you might put on, I don't know, leaves for autumn, and you might put a sun on there for summer, so it makes it multi-purpose. Or you could just use safety pins and safety pin something on. She had an idea of and she put a little tutorial in to create a row of Christmas lights out of felt and then put those onto the sweater just with safety pins. So that's a nice idea. You can easily take them on and off, and then you can wear the sweatshirt plain if you wanted to. So I thought that was a nice, neat idea. So yeah, if you want to join the Weekend Sewing Club, I will put the link in the description box below, and I'll put my discount code in as well, so you get that £6 off. So the second thing I made, you might have spotted this if you've been following me on Instagram as well. A while back when I put together my autumn winter plans, I mentioned that I'd got some needle cord and I wanted to think about a dress that I would make, and I had loads of fabulous suggestions, and I actually did a video all about the different dresses that had been recommended for making with needle cord. So I'll put a link to that video in if you're thinking about doing something similar and you'd like some inspiration. And I actually decided on the Deer and Doe Myosotis dress, and that was recommended to me by the fabulous Catherine from Soverton Makery. So thank you, Catherine. I really like the pattern. So let me show you my version. And I wore this yesterday, so I will pop a picture in of me wearing it. So this fabric is just gorgeous, isn't it? So I'll bring it closer to the screen. You'll see it is a needle cord. It's a very fine needle cord, and it's quite lightweight actually. So it's not too thick and heavy to wear. It was a really nice weight to wear yesterday, and I'll talk you through what I did yesterday shortly as well. So this fabric was from, it's a Little Johnny needle cord from the Fabric Obsession, and I just love all of those beautiful berry colours in it. They're very cool, and it's quite bright, obviously with a fuchsia, and there's a bit of orange in there as well. So really good for my colour pattern. My colour pattern is bright and cool, so I love these kind of shades. And there's a label in there, Perfectly Me is what it says, and that is from Little Rosy Cheeks. So really loved that label. And then if it weren't bright enough, I decided to use my in my overlocker, I used some neon rainbow thread as well, so it's even bright on the inside as well as on the outside. So the Myosotis, let me just read you what it says. Get my glasses out so I can see. So Deer and Doe Myosotis, it says that the Myosotis is a breezy and feminine shirt dress with a slightly oversized fit. Bust and back waist darts delicately shape the bodice which I was really pleased about, because as you'll know if you followed me for a while, I do like a fitted look, particularly into the waistline, with discreet inseam pockets, and they add convenience without adding bulk. Love a pocket, so that's tick tick tick. The waistline is cut slightly higher than the natural waist, with its above the knee length. It's oh so easy to wear. So the length of the pattern is above the knee, but with it being winter, or actually autumn technically, isn't it, but we're going into winter fairly soon, I wanted it to be a little bit longer. So what I did is I lengthened the middle tier. So if I just show you, it gets gathered into the waist here, and then this is one tier down to here, and I lengthen this tier, and then there's a gathered tier that goes onto the bottom. And with this being a directional fabric, what I did with the gathering is I turned it around, and I had the bottom tier of gathering going in the opposite direction, and then I did the same on the sleeve as well. So this is view A that I made, which has got the gathered tiers on the sleeve and also on the bottom of the dress. You can make another version which has just got little short sleeves and no tier on the bottom, so it shows you different lengths on the pattern depending on whether you're making version A or version B. But as I say, I did lengthen my version. I think I'm about 5'6". I'm sure I'm shrinking as I get older, but I'm about 5'6", so I wanted to make it a little longer, and it came almost to the top of my boots. I wore it with knee-length boots and thick tights, and I think that looked really nice. I'll pop a picture in. I don't think I've got one of me just on my own. I've got pictures of me with other people, which I will talk about in a second when I talk about what I did yesterday. But that is the Deer and Doe dress. I love it. I really like the little, it's got a tiny little stand collar, almost like a little Nero collar, and it's got a V-neck. Actually, I haven't got the buttons done up so you can't see, but it's a V-neck, and then you've got buttons that start here. So there are 3 buttons. There we go, and I put those lovely purple buttons on that I got from Carolyn Rose, and I was very pleased to use my new buttonhole chisel. I don't know about you, but using the seam ripper to create buttonholes, I always end up with lots of little threads sort of loose within the buttonhole, but using the buttonhole chisel, which was bought by my hubby and my daughter for part of my birthday present, it was the first opportunity I'd got to use it. Such a satisfying crunch, isn't it, when you press it and it goes through the fabric. So yeah, so I absolutely love that dress. It's got the darts on the back, so it brings it in nicely. It's got darts into the waist and bust darts, so it gives a really nice fitted look on the bodice. And I actually graded down. I took 1.5 centimeters off each of the side seams, so really graded it down into the waist. It's still a tiny bit loose for my liking, I would say, so I'm considering actually putting some elastic into this seam. I can just sew it onto the seam allowance and bring it in a tiny bit more. I've done that with other dresses because, as you know, I do like, why not, you know, if that's my slimmest part, I may as well show it off. Sorry about that light, it's just the, as I've said before, it's the light coming through the holes in the blind. I can't wait to get out in that sunshine. I think I'm going to take the dogs a walk, so after I have done this video. So what else to say about the Myosotis? Just, I've talked, I know when I was going to make this, I talked through all of the sizing, but it's really a really good size range. It goes from a 34 to a 60, so brilliantly inclusive pattern. I used the 34 to 48 size pattern, and I think from memory I made the 44. As I say, that was to make sure I got the bust measurement in. I think the size lower, there was only going to be about 1 inch of ease on the bust, and I thought that might be a little bit tight. My full bust measurement is 41.5, so I thought that one might just be a little bit tight for the 42 inch. So I went for the 44, and then, as I said, graded in at the waist. The hip doesn't matter because it's gathered anyway, and it's supposed to be wider, so there's a lot of ease in the bottom of the skirt. But I like that. It's really comfortable to wear. It feels quite light and breezy as you're walking around. So I really like that that look. So I highly recommend the Myosotis dress, and thank you to lovely Catherine for recommending it. So there we are. So that's everything about the Myosotis. Let me just look at my notes. So let me tell you what I did yesterday and the event that I was at, and then I'll pop the pictures in for you as well. So I went along to the lovely Adele's sewing social. So Adele is Sew for Serenity, and she hosts a sewing social up in Brown Hills in the Midlands, and that's about an hour from me. So we booked on, I say we because I took the fabulous Sam, who is So Let's Sparkle, with me up to Brown Hills. So we went on a little road trip, which was fantastic because we had lots of chatting time in the car, and then we sat near each other when we were at the sewing social as well. So it's the first time I've actually met Adele in person, and the lovely Bex, who together they run the Fabric Obsession. So you can now see why I wanted to get this dress finished, because it was fabric from them, and I wanted to be able to wear that to the event yesterday. So it was lovely to see them in person. I feel like I know them already because we watch each other's vlogs and follow each other on Instagram, and I watched their wonderful Friday lives. If you haven't seen those, they are hilarious and brilliant because they have amazing fabric, but they are like a little comedy double act when they're on together. So they're really good fun, and they have amazing taste in fabric. They love leopard print, so there's lots of leopard print on there, which, as you know, I love as well. So yeah, we're like the Mutual Appreciation Society, I think, because we always like what each other has made as well. So that was fabulous to meet them in person. And then I got to see some of my lovely other sewing friends as well. So I saw Nikki and Joe, who I went along to Sew Brum with a month or so ago. So it's lovely to see them again. And then I got to meet some people in person that I chat to as well on Instagram and through the YouTube comments as well. So lovely to meet Julie as well, and all the other ladies. They made us so welcome. It's the first time Sam and I had been to that social, and we just felt so welcome. It was lovely. We set up our machines and then we just chatted for ages. So we didn't get masses of sewing done, but we did a lot of chatting about sewing, and getting very excited, looking at lots of lovely fabric, because Bex and Adele actually take the fabrics along to the sewing social, so you can actually get to stroke the fabric and feel it, and feel the weight of the fabric as well. So that was just brilliant. Very tempting, not so good for the bank balance, but really, really good fun. So we were all kind of standing around still chatting. I think some people were sewing already that were a bit more disciplined. We were just very overexcited and chatting away, and in walks the amazing Kaz, the winner of this year's Great British Sewing Bee. And it was quite funny because Adele didn't know she was going to be coming along, and she came in and she was so surprised. So she didn't stay for the whole event, but her husband had gone off to do the food shopping and dropped her off. So win-win for Kaz, because she didn't have to go food shopping, the husband did it, and she came in and chatted about sewing with us instead. So I'd been chatting to Kaz on Instagram when the Great British Sewing Bee was televised, so I promised her a hug if I ever got to meet her in person. So I was really pleased to meet her there, and the reason that she came along is Sam had actually gone along to a Great British Sewing Bee social on Thursday over in Hereford, and I know Sam has got a vlog all about that, so I'll link to Sam's vlog if you want to go and watch what went on there. It was run by the lovely Stuart and Dan from this year's Great British Sewing Bee, and then Kaz went along as well. So they had a wonderful time, and Sam must have mentioned this event that she was going to it on Saturday to Kaz, and she lives pretty locally, so she just thought she'd drop in and come and say hi. So it was lovely to meet her and chat with her. So I'll pop a picture in. You may have already seen it on Instagram because I excitedly posted it yesterday as soon as I'd met her. So she was absolutely lovely, funny, and exactly, down to earth, just as she appeared on the Great British Sewing Bee. So it was really, really lovely to meet her and chat all about the Sewing Bee with her. So yeah, so it was a wonderful day, and I'm still buzzing from yesterday actually. I feel this morning I felt really tired, and we just had a very relaxed morning. I went down and made teas and coffee for me and the hubby, and the doggies came up, and you know, they're not normally allowed to, well, they don't sleep in the bed, they sleep downstairs in the kitchen, and they came up and lay on the beds with us while we had our coffees and teas, and sort of came round. And I actually felt like I'd had a massive night out, but to me yesterday was the equivalent of a massive night out. We had a full day of, you know, driving there, all the excitement of chatting away, doing some sewing, which I'll show you in a minute what I did. Not a lot, but I did make some progress, and it was just a wonderful day. So tea and cake and sewing and chatting is my new partying, I think. So I absolutely loved it, and I'm still buzzing today, as you can probably tell. So I need to calm down. I've got my peppermint tea here. That's probably what I need to calm me down. So that was yesterday. Very, very exciting day. So here's what I sewed. I'm actually making the Lyra dress, and this was part of my autumn winter plans as well. So I think probably in my next video I will do a recap of what I planned for autumn winter, and just a little update on where I am so far, because I've made, I think this will be about the fourth make from my plans video, but I have made other things as well in between, which I'll talk you through. And there's a couple more things that have come in that I will be making. So I'm not only I can never say that word, religiously sewing from my autumn winter plans. I'm sewing other things interspersed, but it's definitely given me guidance and given me a structure to what I'm sewing, but I'm not sticking to it so strictly that if something catches my eye or an opportunity arises, you know, I'm still taking those opportunities up. So I'll share one of those with you in a moment. So this is the Lyra dress. I'll pop a picture in so you can see what it looks like, because this is very creased. I've just taken it out of my my bag from the Sewing Social yesterday. So as you can see, I've made the collar. It's got a collar stand. It's got plackets down the front where the buttons and buttonholes are going to go, and I've made the bodice. So it's got what has it got? Oh, it doesn't have darts. Oh, it does. Yes, it's got darts on the bodice, and then it comes into a waistline which has got a belt around it. So what I wanted to do was make sure that the bodice fits well, because it doesn't matter so much about the waist, because it's going to be gathered in with the belt in any case. And then it's got a nice flowing gathered skirt. The skirt is actually very, very similar to the Myosotis skirt that I've just made. I'm doing the one with 2 tiers on it. There is one just with 1 tier, so you've got a number of options as to how you want to make it, a number of different options for the sleeves as well, so you can make a summer version. So all I've got to do with the sleeve now is put in a couple of rows of gathering stitches. Sorry, no, I haven't. Ignore that. That's my other one I've just made. It's it just has elastic lace channel that will be sewn together, and then I'm just going to move so that light's not in my face, and then the elastic will go through. So again, I borrowed Sam's overlocker. Actually, I've got some of my own rainbow overlocking, and then this one, which is also multicolored, was from Sam's overlocker. It saved me getting mine out of the boot of my car, so we shared the overlocker. And I've got one of Sam's fabulous labels in there as well, sewn with sparkle. So again, I'll put a link into Sam's website, so if you want to get your own labels, you'll be able to do that. So I made that yesterday, so that was my half a make. And then the final thing that I've made, I'm not going to go into detail on this too much, but I've made a shirt for my hubby. The only thing I've got left to do now is the buttonholes and the buttons, and I was just waiting for some that I'd ordered to come through the post. They've now arrived, so that's probably a job for tomorrow. This one has got a label in, which I thought he'd appreciate. It says made with love and swear words. I didn't swear too much, actually. It was quite an easy make. But I will talk you through this on a full video, because I'm going to use this for a gift for November, and I've got a date on the vlogger tour towards the end of November, I think the 26th from memory. So I'll be making a full video about this. I actually mashed together 2 patterns, so I'll explain exactly what I did with that in case you have the same request from your husband to make a shirt that was very specific in terms of what he was looking for. So I'll tell you all about that in a subsequent video. I won't go into that right now because this is already 24 minutes long and I've talked for quite a while. So let's put the Lyra to one side and let me show you. So 4 fabrics. The first one was actually a prize. So I won the one of the prize draws for the Sew Phoenix September challenge, and I won a voucher for €25 from Crafty Studio over in Ireland, and I ordered this beautiful cotton organic, oh dear, those lights are back again, aren't they? It's organic cotton jersey, so it's got a lovely stretch to it, and I've got 2 meters of that. So I think what I'm going to be doing with that is probably making, for this time of the year, a long sleeve t-shirt that I can wear underneath a pinafore that I haven't yet made, but that's my plan, is to do that. I have got 2 meters, so I may consider that, or I might consider some form of a wrap dress possibly, but that if I do that, that'll be a summer project. So it's been washed and it might go in a project bag and go away for the summer, so I'll have a think about that. The other fabric that I have was gifted to me from Longan Fabrics, and I'm going to be making something with this and then sharing it on Instagram. And this is a beautiful cotton Ponte fabric. It's a really nice weight. I'll just get a single layer. There you go, that's the single layer. So it's got a lot of lovely drape to it, and I'm thinking that I've got 2.5 meters of this in that lovely royal blue, so I'm thinking that I might actually make a oh gosh, what's the name of the dress? My mum calls it my bat dress. It's the one that wraps around and then you tie to the front. You know the one I mean. I'll put the name in when I edit the video because it's gone out of my head in all my excitement. So I shall be making that and sharing that with you. That's probably going to be on my plan for this week actually, because I need to get it done and shared by the end of November. And then yesterday, gosh, all of that temptation with all the gorgeous fabrics from the Fabric Obsession, I actually bought 2 pieces of fabric. I got this gorgeous stretch velvet, which as you can see is covered in sequins, and I'm trying to decide what to make with that. So I'd love your suggestions. My criteria, as you probably know, is I like it to go in at the waist. I would like it to have sleeves because of this time of year. I'm going to be making it as a Christmas party dress. I've got a number of parties to go to, so I shall be wearing this for the party season. So yeah, I'd love your suggestions on what you think works well in a sequin fabric. I don't think I've ever sewn with sequins, so I expect I'll probably break some needles, but I'm okay with that. I will go steadily. I know that Bex and Adele have both sewn with sequin fabric recently for the dressmakers ball, and actually they did quite well. They said the sequins are not too hard, they're quite easy to sew. They're quite soft sequins, so I will have to line the dress as well. So it is a dress that I'm looking to make rather than separates, so I will get something to line it with as well. So any suggestions would be gratefully received. I've been having a look, but I haven't yet fixed on anything. I did wonder about the Sew Over It Estelle dress, but it's got that tie, and I wondered whether trying to tie it with a sequins, whether they just rub together and end up pinging off all over the place. So let me know if you've ever sewn with sequins, whether you think a tie would work in sequins or not. So I'll look forward to hearing that. So the other piece of fabric I bought yesterday is this gorgeous quilted fabric. It's a remnant and it's quilted, it's navy blue with these lovely hearts sewn onto it. And what did I say? It's a meter. So what I thought I would make with that, I've been looking at bags and I'd seen the Oxbow tote, and I thought this fabric would be beautiful to make that Oxbow tote in. It's quite a decent sized bag, and it's big enough, the small size is big enough to actually fit a laptop in. There's a larger size which is like an overnight bag, and I don't think I'd have enough fabric for that, and to be honest, it's the laptop size bag that I wanted anyway, so that's what I'll be making with that fabric. And I thought it's got a contrast panel at the front, so I was thinking the pink stitching on this is sort of like a fuchsia pink. It'd be really nice with the fuchsia pink panel on the front, which is a pocket in the front of the bag, so I'll be looking out for some fabric for that. So that's what I bought. So I did quite well, I think, to be quite restrained. There was lots of other gorgeous fabric. There's more sequin fabric, some velvets, lots and lots of gorgeous jerseys, which would be brilliant for pyjamas at this time of year. And yeah, loads of other stretch fabrics that would make really nice dresses or trousers. So yeah, do go and have a look at the Fabric Obsession if you haven't seen them already. There's some lovely things there. So I'm just checking through to make sure I've mentioned everything I wanted to mention. Yes, I think I have. So all I want to say really to wrap up is thank you to the lovely Adele and all the fabulous ladies that we met yesterday. It was such a wonderful welcome and a really lovely atmosphere in the group. So that was great. Thank you very much. And thank you to the lovely Sam for being my road trip partner in crime. We had a great time chatting on the way there and back, and, you know, brilliant time chatting to everybody there. So thoroughly enjoyed it. I do love doing the online socials, but actually in-person socials are so good. It's just really nice to see people in person and get lots of hugs. And of course, the bonus was meeting the fabulous Kaz as well. So what a day yesterday was. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to top that with with next week, but we will see. So I will get on with sewing up my Ponte fabric and the Kielo dress, that's what it's called. That's the one that I couldn't think of. So yes, I should be making the Kielo dress in that. I think I just need to place the pattern pieces on it and make sure I've got enough to make the length of dress that I want. So all being well, I'll make a nice Kielo in that. I've got 2 so far and I really love that pattern, so I think that'll be really nice in that lovely Ponte fabric as well. So that's what I'll be working on next week, that and finishing off Nigel's shirt, and then I will record the video for a gift to November to tell you all about that shirt as well. So yeah, it'll be a busy week, I think. Hopefully I'll get some good sewing time next week, in and amongst the usual visits to parents as well, and making sure they're all okay. So have a wonderful rest of the Sunday, and I will catch up with you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.